What's a pretty little thing like you doing out here all alone?
Shut her up!
Please. Forgive me, Father, for I will sin.
When was the first time you saw the original I Spit on Your Grave?
Saw the original in 1980 when I was 16 years old, when it came out on VHS.
Your initial reaction?
Disturbed, and kind of the vibe of the movie kind of stays with you and hangs on you for a few days, so your brain keeps going back to the movie. So it definitely had an effect on me. Yeah.
And why remake it now?
Well, I mean, obviously, there's no question that we live in a world of remakes. I think that and we will continue to, as long as people don't buy tickets to go see them anymore. The studios and producers are going to keep doing them. So I think that if we are careful in what we remake and careful in how we remake, I think it could be a good thing. So I personally felt like it was one of those films that could be redone today, content-wise, and especially visually. So, it was kind of exciting to me because I like disturbing films, not just horror films, any disturbing film, that stays with you. I like them. So the thought of being able to do that and possibly project what I felt, onto other people was interesting to me. And I also just I was kind of worried about it getting into the wrong hands, so I figured if I could get the right fingerprint on it, it would be welcomed.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I heard that you really pushed to be the director on this film. And
Yeah.
how did you get involved? Like, how did you hear that it was going to be remade? And
Well, I had done a couple of television movies for Cinetel Films, and I was in there in the edit room, and I came upstairs to talk to Lisa Hanson about something, and I saw the Millennium DVD box of I Spit on Your Grave sitting on the creative producer Neil Elman's desk, and I said, "What's this doing here?" And he said, "Well, we just got the rights to it." And I literally picked it up and I said, "You have to let me direct it." So it kind of went on for about a year while they were, tying up everything legally, and I just kept telling them, I'm your guy. You don't want anyone else to do this. You know that I can do it. I was really concerned with performances not being realistic in the movie, which happens a lot. So that was one of my biggest concerns, and I knew it could be one of those remakes that just completely went in the wrong direction.
speaking of performances, how hard was it to find Sarah to be in the movie, and what wouldn't she do?
It was very easy to find her. She was the second audition in the first casting tape that I was sent from the first round. And I watched the first person. I made it through like halfway through the first take, and I forwarded it, and I got to Sarah's, and she did her slate, which, for people that don't know about auditions, the actors go in and they say, "Hi, my name's Sarah Butler, and I'm auditioning for the role of Jennifer." And I stopped it, and I emailed Lisa Hanson, and I said I found Jennifer. And then I watched her audition. And then I just continued to fight the fight to get her, because, of course, it worried all the producers that I was saying it's the second person I saw. But then when they saw her come in for her third callback, I think they sat in on it and they said, "Yeah, you're right, that is her." So that was very easy. She was pretty much up for everything. We had a lot of conversations about what I was going to need and expect out of her. And, I think some things made her nervous, but as she started to realize what the project was, she didn't even realize what it was at first. Her manager just told her to go in and read for it because it's a great role. And as she started to put two and two together about what it was, it made more and more sense to her. And then she definitely, by the time we were ready to start shooting, she was ready to dive in and do whatever we needed to do. She was a trooper.
And since it is quite grim, the content of it, how was the vibe on set overall?
It was, it was, we had plenty of times where I would definitely pick my times when I would let the levity be there because we needed it. But when we were shooting the intense content, it was, I wouldn't say it was intense because I wouldn't want the atmosphere to be intense, but it was very hard for everyone to do. And it was very upsetting shooting the rape scenes. I mean, pretty much everybody, got very upset during shooting that stuff, and it was days and days of it, because it's a large chunk of the movie. So, I would say it was intense for the actors and myself, but I didn't want it to be intense for the crew, but yet I wanted everybody to be, very, very, very low-key and quiet. And, but I think if everybody was intense for all that time, people's heads would have exploded. So,
are you concerned at all when it's released about a backlash from religious groups or parent groups or anything?
No, I mean, there's really nothing that you can do about that, and it doesn't matter if it's the Last Temptation of Christ or this. Religious groups are going to have problems with with anything. They're not going to see the movie anyway. The movie's not for them. It's for people that will understand it, and they won't. Parent groups. I grew up in a film business family where, if I was taken to an R-rated movie when I was young, it was talked about first, it was explained, we talked about it after. Parents shouldn't be taking kids to this movie. And if they do, then, I don't know what to say. It's not for kids.
Yeah, definitely not for kids.
Yeah.
What about fans of the original? Are you worried about a backlash from them?
I've said this a couple times. I'm not worried. I've always been concerned. I know it's going to come at me. I always had a concern from day one of rewrites on the script through the last day of post on the movie. A concern with paying tribute to it and making sure that they're happy and making sure it's not what the hell was that? This doesn't have anything to do with the original. And that's part of the reason why we also, had Mayor involved, Mayor Zarki involved, from day one. He signed off on everything. So it's funny, if you look at the stuff that's going on online now that people have started to see the movie, basically the people that have seen the movie are pleased with it. The people that haven't seen it are still saying the movie's going to suck. So the people that don't know anything about it are the ones that are saying that the movie's going to suck. So, and there are obviously, people that just want to be angry and aren't informed or anything, because Mayor, who is, their god when it comes to this movie, has done lots of press saying how happy he is with the movie, and people are totally ignoring it and saying, actually one person actually said Mayor Zarki must be rolling over in his grave. The person thought he was dead. Yeah. So that goes to show you how much information that person had. So there's been a very strong concern on my part from day one about, it's a very fine line about making the original fans happy, and we're making a horror film for a new audience also. So, and trying to make sure that everyone's happy. You're never going to make everyone happy, but you can at least do your best to,
And you said you were a fan of disturbing films. What's some of the most shocking films you've ever seen?
I like violent films. Okay. The Exorcist to me is still one of the best films ever made, and I think it still completely holds up today. As far as violent films, Wild Bunch and Straw Dogs, films like that. I like dramatically based films, which I feel I Spit in Your Grave is a dramatically based film. Obviously, if you're going to deal with rape, if you don't have a dramatic element, there's obviously going to be something wrong with the film. So, Exorcist, Straw Dogs, and Wild Bunch. But mostly the Peckinpah things because of the violence. But.
And do you have any dream projects that you want to get to one day?
I have plenty of dream projects. They're all my most of them are my own scripts. So trying to get those off the ground are next to impossible.
Would you ever do another remake?
I would certainly do another remake. If my gut reacted the same way it did to this, when I heard about it. There are certain films that I do think shouldn't be remade, but I do think also there are others that that can be a better film, or just as good as.
And was there anything that you had to cut that really bothered you, that you had to take it out in the final product?
No, because it's basically the unrated cut is everything that was in my cut.
Okay.
So, had we gone rounds, with the MPA and gone with what they wanted to, the R-rated cut that we did for them is just locked up somewhere and unfinished, because we're not going to finish it because we're releasing the unrated version. Yeah. For the most part, people that have seen it have reacted really well to it. A lot of people have said, it's not really my thing, but it was a good film.